What's up, guys? Happy Independence Day for all those people in the US. Hope you're having an awesome day so far. We got the weekend coming up, so volume might start to dwindle a bit. We'll see what happens. Most of the volume during the weekends and during holidays are retail driven, but there are still market makers out there playing around. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to pull up, let everyone know that I'm jumping in live. Cool. All right. Bull Runner, how you doing, man? Lou, what's up? Okay, there we go. All right, just want to let people know that I'm jumping in live, just in case they want to join in. How you guys doing? David, how you doing, man? Dylan, happy 4th of July, guys. I may be in Canada, but I live right beside the New York border, so I'll be able to see the fireworks again. So I get Canada Day fireworks and July 4th fireworks. So just mooching off the states. Okay. Just P Jaders. I if I say that wrong, sorry. How you doing, man? Dustin, how you doing, man? Noah, did you guys catch the short that we took last night? It was pretty. I'm glad that it evolved. So when we jumped in on the short, I'll go over why we jumped in a little bit more detail because it's nice to try to say as much as I can in the signal, but it's a lot easier to understand if you're a beginner if I explain it as well. So we were looking. This is the signal here, right? I was talking about a potential short, preparing everyone mentally that we had some scenarios like the top here could have given us an SFP, like an additional one, or we could have extended past the previous Valerie high, or we could have used the current local Valerie high. But no matter what, I was focusing on shorts. And then when we actually got the signal itself, all the conditions were kind of met to tell me that, okay, all we need is just the 5-minute candle close below this key level. So we would know that, buyers would have been completely wiped out. There was a little bit of buy wall there that I wanted to have removed first. And yeah, so we got the entry condition was the 5-minute candle close below 109.61130. Then we had the initial target was just here at the valley area low. But the good news is we got the target extension. We didn't have a reason to get out. And I may have been nervous around here if I was awake at the time, but I slept in, guys. I slept until I think like 8:30, like 9-ish. But I got right around 7 o'clock. This would have been a moment where some people might be thinking that we could start to turn around because we got above the VWAP there for a moment, but didn't really follow through. And we had this inverse head and shoulders that could have been a short-term scalp, but longing into the VWAP like that would make people nervous. But yeah, we got the target extension. We left this valley area, and we're working on hopefully getting another target extension. What we need to see happen, if we zoom out a bit, let's zoom out on the 4 hours so you can see what I kind of hope for here. So right now, we're at the top of this macro valley area here, right? So if we get proper acceptance into this valley area with a break of structure continuation, then we could have a rotation back down to the valley area low. Now so the same way we wanted to trade this short, you can do the same thing in higher time frames. So what I like about my strategy is that you can use it for both scalping and swing trading. So if we have a large value area like this and we have acceptance within it and we have our break of structure, then that could tell us that we're going to get that rotation to the value area low. So the same way we targeted it in the lower time frames here, we're going to hopefully get the same kind of setup in a more macro environment to tell us that we could hold this trade much, much longer. But we do obviously have some big barriers along the way that could prevent us from hitting that value area low. The first one that I'm concerned about is the value area low that we're trying to get acceptance within, right? If we get proper acceptance within here, we can get that full rotation down to like a 106.8 level. So that 106.8 is the very first primary barrier concern. And then we could fall down to the next area right here, around 105.300. And then after that, really, it's all about breaking that point of control and the 50-day EMA. And then we could end up getting that target extension. I'm not going to expect us to get past this before maybe it causing a strong enough reversal where it might be worth just taking the close on the trade and then focusing on a new like long position. And by then we might be having, we'll have our, well, on the 7th, we're starting our challenge, right? This would have been a great trade for the first day of the challenge, if I'm being honest. If the challenge started like last night and not on the 7th, but I'm not going to do that to you. Because like right now it's about a 1 to, well, close to a 1 to 6. So having a huge lead on the challenge like that would be great. We're not always going to get these 1 to 6s. Like when we're following the strategy, we might be out at 1 to 2s and stuff like that. But yeah, a 1 to 6 for the first trade would have been pretty epic. But yeah, so zooming in a little bit as to why we jumped in, just so we lost this evolving momentum here, right? And we were waiting for like structure to help us define for our short. So on the lower time frames here, we've got a 15-minute change character level. It's internal to this high and this low, but right here we had like a 15-minute internal change character when we broke this area. And when you zoom in on the 5 minutes, the behavior is a lot like a head and shoulders kind of behavior, right? And we had a buy wall that was slowly disappearing. And so I figured like if we get a candle close below that buy wall area, then we know that it is safe to jump in, that the buyers are gone. And the VWAP was going to reset very soon. So I wasn't too concerned about the VWAP being a problem. And it did reset, but it's really tough to see because the price is very close to the active price action when it did reset. Reset it around here, right? Where this initial little move up was. So it became weak during that period. So here basically was the confirmation of entry. We broke this low, got a break of structure into the value area, right? Telling us that we can start focusing on a rotation to the value area low and being mindful of the point of control. The point of control wasn't very much of a problem. We ended up just getting one small little bounce. Then we hit our head off of it, got the lower low, confirming it as resistance, telling us that we're going to go right down to our target, basically. And I closed 50% at the target. I let everyone know that I wasn't closing the full trade, limiting 50% at the target. Then, yeah, woke up to some incredible gains. Now the stop loss is right here. So what I'm worried about is a potential inverse head and shoulders kind of behavior, inducing buyers to drive it up to the VWAP. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. We're losing local internal momentum to potentially get a bounce off the value area high from this structure here, like this previous value area high. If we get a bounce, then crap, we might, this is going to be under attack and we can end up getting that move up to the VWAP. I may consider, depending on the order books, I may consider, like this is not a good habit, but I'm already deep in the profit. So I may consider moving my stop loss above the value area low if we get that inverse head and shoulders, because we still haven't broke the momentum. We have the VWAP on our side, and we have this whole valley area potentially giving us a guard. One thing that makes me nervous about the inverse head and shoulders behavior is the fact that we have like this demand zone here of confluence, and it could induce a strong move back up. So I'm hoping that when we lose this momentum, that we fall back inside this valley area, get a full break of structure within it, and not just into it like we just got here. And that way we can have a better shot of getting that value area low. So this point of control can act as a guard for our capital and gives a higher probability chance of, a strong continuation down to this point of interest down here, which is the macro point of control and a strong area of demand that we got to kind of watch around 105.5. But yeah, that is Bitcoin. We'll hodl through this. I'm up 5% on my account from this trade. We've got Savage in the community that took a 30-minute SFP up here. Explode. He did a really good job. I'm going to share actually that. Where is he? Yeah, he took a 100x leverage short from that SFP, and he's closed 50% of it so far. So awesome job, man. That's a great trade. Yeah. So I've got until 3 o'clock, so I got about 45 minutes. This trade is going to pay for fixing my driveway. Yeah, I'm going to make a video for you guys so you can see how bad the driveway is. It is terrible. When I bought this place, it came with like 9,000 problems, but we were desperate for a home, so we just like rushed into anything we could find. What are you guys doing? Let's see the chat here. Caliber. Yo, what's up, Kyle? I posted in the Discord that there's loads of variation in the FR fees today, funding rate fees today. Interesting. Yeah, if they're the funding rate fees are negative, the people in shorts are going to be paying people in longs. If the funding rates are positive, people who are in longs are going to be paying people in shorts. The massive majority of the time, the funding rate fees are positive, like even during a bear market. Yes, jumped on that short, profit overnight. Good job, Ben. Petra, how you doing? Good afternoon, Kyle and gang. The signal. Thanks again for the signal. No problem, man. Looks like we're breaking up trending momentum now. Should be rolling over to continue down. Yeah, so we got this low time frame internal momentum here that you're talking about. We just need the change of character, like right here, the internal change of character. If we get that, then we'll have a stronger chance of just busting right through this value area high and coming down to get a new low. I don't want us to stay above this value area high too long, because I don't want any buyers' confidence like driving the price back up. Coma, how you doing? Jedi, hey man. Can you look at SPX after the Bitcoin TA? I know, you know why I'm asking that. Yeah. Oh yeah, you've been crushing it with SPX, man. Let's pull up. I think we have an SPX chart, right? We do. Okay, cool. I haven't looked at it since the 20th of June. Let's take a peek. Oh man, it's so consistent. Let's delete some noise here. I haven't done TA on it in a while, so I just want to see how this didn't really. Oh, that's old. Okay. So right now we're dancing. I'm looking at the 30-minute time frame. We're dancing above the 50 EMA, trying to hold that. We're going range bound above it. If we can pull a fixed range from the start of this range, roughly around here to here. We've got this demand zone holding it up in confluence with the 50-day EMA down here. Let's pull. I want to just zoom in a little bit, see if there's anything I'm missing. Send it back. I'm going to move this down, actually. Needs to be refined a little bit more. There you go, sorry. You might be hearing my kids scream in the background too. They're playing on the trampoline. But yeah, so SPX right now, we are at its local value area low. It's starting to creep up towards this supply concern right here. Get this internal supply barrier in confluence with the VWAP there. So this is an area where you prepare for potential like continuation back down. Template short. Pull a fib from the impulse move down. There's no confluence there other than the point of control. So yeah, I just prepare for it. Might run up a little bit more, but I think it's going to hit its head around here. We have this supply concern where we had this impulse move, built a little base, break a structure, continuation, another impulse move down. So there could be residual sellers here or trapped buyers. So with the confluence of the VWAP, prepare to hit our head here and maybe come back down. And we might create a new lower low. But the structure, what I would look for, because we have some relative strength on SPX, we have this local demand zone here. Same reasoning that we have the supply concern, impulse move, base, another impulse move. So this is an area in confluence with the value area low that could induce reversals. So if we hit our head off here and start to mitigate this supply concern a bit for SPX and have that full pullback and hopefully create a new lower low, we would have a change of character level to help define potential reversals back up to the value area high. So we need some structure to define a long, but if you're not in an existing short, I would be focusing on preparing for longs. And if you're in an existing short and you can find a reason for a long, then I would exit that short and then jump into the long. I wouldn't really hedge against it. I wouldn't trade simultaneously the short and the long in this kind of scenario. Unless you see confluences with Bitcoin and SPX that could drive us to break this 50 EMA, I would probably just focus on recycling your gains into the next trade. And I know you do really good, Lou, at trading SPX. You show me your P&L on it. So I feel like you got a really good grip of its behavior. But that's what I'll be waiting for, man. Basically this, hit, down, then change a character, and target back up here. And even better if we come back down to this previous point of control, a slight deviation of the value area low. Instead, if we get that continuation down, but you'll just have to babysit it when we come back up to the value area low because it can act as a form of resistance and induce a continuation further down. Okay, so that is SPX. So I hope that helps you out, man. I'll save the chart. Go back over here. Bitcoin's come down. We got that change of character, internal change of character here. Holiday live. Yeah. Well, it's your guys' this holiday. It's not mine. So, but when it comes to the charts and trading, I treat the US holidays a lot more seriously than Canadian holidays because Canada doesn't provide nearly as much volume as the US does. What do you think about the weekend trap price staying in a tight range over the weekend? Yeah, that might be possible. I could see the volume being kind of like poor anyways, like holiday, like long weekend holiday kind of thing. So the market makers might be unplugging for the weekend. So it's going to be mostly retail. I would recommend just when it comes to times like that, like a massive majority of strategies is win rate increases when you cut out the holidays. If you're trading within those holidays, like it usually lowers your win rate. Kyle, can you take a look at the local value area? I went around 109.030. We had acceptance back into the value area and had a change of character on the 15 inverse head and shoulders and got stopped out at the local value area. Coma. Okay, I think you're talking about this here. Right here, man. Um, this is the 5, though. So if I look at the 15 just to verify some stuff. Okay, so this is the 15 inverse head and shoulders you're talking about. The only thing is, let's see. Well, A, it's the holiday. We were just talking about how that could impact your win rate. B, we have this wick up here that wasn't mitigated. So there could have been a sell wall here. Yeah, pullback. So you probably entered here. You went long around here because of this candle. I could see why you were thought like this could be a good opportunity for long. If I were looking at the charts, I would think like, man, that's almost a picture perfect inverse head and shoulders at a value area low. The better opportunity was the 5-minute inverse and head and shoulders, but not everyone trusts the 5-minute compared to the 15. It's just and depending on how you drew the momentum, I could see that you could also see that the momentum might have broken too, right? I didn't adapt my momentum draw until I saw this rejection and had it sync with the momentum here after I saw that break back down. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I could see why you jumped in. Honestly, I probably would have jumped in too. But the only thing that I would have watched to make sure that it was safe was just the order books. The order books is like looking both ways before crossing the road, making sure that you don't get hit by a car, right? And this is the car that definitely hit you. So if anything, this could have been something to help induce more liquidity down here. That's where we lost, man. Yeah, you did good. Not much you could have changed, other than maybe the order books could have saved you from this drop. Show me your driveway and I'll show you mine. I don't know if you're ready for this. That's funny. Yeah, my driveway's terrible. Yeah, mine's falling apart. So my driveway's so bad, I have to mow it. I have to get the lawnmower out to mow it because there's like, yeah. And my car puts too much weight on one side because it's so like unlevel that it's actually like it flattens my tires all the time and like it might be damaging my like axle. Who knows? We got a request to look at Sui from Caliphant. We could take a peek at that. I'm gonna switch back to the 5-minute for this chart and pull up Sui. Sui. Let's go the hourly first. Damn, look at that. Sui got his butt kicked. I think someone sent me a screenshot saying that they entered a short, but they didn't set up their TP down here, and this candle came up just above their TP, something crazy like that. I remember them saying something like that. We have this macro downtrending momentum still influencing Sui's price action right here, right? So we just like stacked more liquidity potentially trapped up there, like buyers being trapped. If we zoom in on lower time frames, see the 15. Looks like the last time we were looking at it, we were talking about like this valley area and this demand zone that could induce a bounce. We got a really decent bounce from it, but then we lost momentum after we hit the valley area high. And yeah, we swept the liquidity from this high too. So there's lots of reasons for entering a short here. So congrats to anyone who might have taken that. Then we lost this valley area. We can actually extend this until we lost it right here. It looks like we lost it right on this candle here. Basically use it as resistance, got the lower low, got an additional break of structure continuation. Let's zoom out. Going back down. We actually went right through this. Only a small bounce off of this. this would be an area where I prepare for a potential bounce, the same way we did right here, right? And that we're actually I'm not sure how legit this wick is. I'm not sure if it's on multiple exchanges or not. This is the Binance chart. But if it is legit, then a bunch of residual limit buy orders or market orders were just potentially filled. So the buyers might be gone if we get acceptance back inside this valley area. So we get a break of structure within this. We can get a full rotation down to 275.99. Which is based on this valley area here that has a lot of influence over the price action since we've been through it. So that's what I'll be kind of like waiting for, a potential warning of a reversal, right? Or acceptance into the valley area for a continuation down. But at 275, we might start being range bound again. And it would coincide really well with Caliphant. Caliphant, you're the one asking this, but Sui. Yeah, it would coincide really well with your idea of us being range bound over the weekend. If we get acceptance in this valley area, we could be stuck in here for a bit. And Bitcoin might get that lower low. Let's close back inside this valley area. Yeah, I really want that target extension from here to here. You would love a heated driveway. That's a little much. If you can get it like solar panel, yeah, maybe. I've heard of those heated driveways. There are some driveways out there that have like solar panels as the driveway itself, so it melts the snow, and it also allows you to put custom lighting and stuff like that on it. It's pretty cool. It's like more of a Japanese thing. I've got a request to look at Solana. What's up, Steamworks? How you doing, man? Let's look at Ethereum and Solana. Let's open up Ethereum. I'm actually quite curious to see how it handled this, if it had any relative strength or if it dropped. Oh, yeah. We were screaming about us potentially getting back up here at this valley area high. I'm actually kind of shocked to see it fail here and not here, right? This was a good spot to watch out for a bear concern. And same with the point of control, because the point of control has been a problem for Ethereum for a while, but we blasted right through it like it wasn't even there. And then we built the same kind of structural patterning as Bitcoin, right? Where we had that like SFP, we got the awkward internal regression trend where this is basically where we shorted Bitcoin relative to Ethereum's move. And Ethereum basically played out very similarly to Bitcoin. And we bounced off this point of control. And now we're back down to the value area low. So I'm glad that we claimed these highs. We actually broke through these. So it will allow for more potential probability of us claiming above this high and reaching the macro value high again. Well, it's not too macro. This is like a 40-day valley area, right? And we got 41-day valley area, and we're just trying to get that acceptance back into it. And we obviously did get proper acceptance to it this time. It's just a matter of like, what do we prepare for next, right? So here we have a local demand zone that we could fall down to, and that could become in confluence with Bitcoin reaching its like local valley area low. So if we have that continuation, if we manage to get that continuation, then it should sync well with Ethereum's local demand zone right here. We have a previous valley area high here. We have a deviation of the macro valley area low right here. I should probably mark that value area low just to make it a little bit more. So macro value area low. It's good to write like how many days it is too, so you have a better understanding of what kind of value it is. It's like a 40-day value area before we returned back into it. That's just something I'm just starting to do now. I've never done that before until I guess like last Friday. Okay, long. But yeah, if we don't make it down to here, then this is an area where you typically would prepare for longs. We're at the macro value area low. We just need that structural confluence, and we'd have to watch our heads at the previous point of control at 25.30. But yeah, we just need that structural confluence to define long. It might be a short-term long hitting your head here. We have the VWAP there right now as well. And based on like time too, the VWAP will likely start to catch up, get below that POC before we come back up there, if we come back up there. But yeah, look for a reversal structure here. This is a really good spot of confluence, but this is a better spot to prepare. If we end up getting that full rotation down, then I'll be waiting for a change of character here, and just gotta watch your head at the previous macro value area low, but then it would be targeting the POC. And then of course you want to hope for that extension like we did here. That's Ethereum, man. Going back to, I'm gonna save the chart. We got Solana request 2 from Caliber. Let's pull up Solana. Solana, July 3rd, last time we looked at it, so yesterday. What we talked about yesterday, the short opportunity. This was our key level that we were watching before. We broke it, came down, hit our heads off the previous like area of resistance. That support came up. And I'm guessing like relative to the positioning here, like it looks like Solana gave everyone a harder time to trade than Bitcoin did. We're at a value area point of control. So it looks like this is roughly around the time where we shorted Bitcoin. We came up, we basically hit this ascending momentum as resistance, and we were fighting against it. So we created higher highs. So anyone who may have shorted Solana in confluence with Bitcoin's drop would have been stopped out. But now we're back down to the valley area low for this valley area right here. This valley area came from this previous valley area here that had a large amount of influence over the price action. So we kept it on chart. We could delete this. This was like a fib pull retest rejection. We could delete that. We don't need that anymore. Zoom in on I gotta delete the 90-minute off my screen. I don't use it very often, but I keep clicking on it. We extend this here. It's basically the time we got the value area act as resistance. So this is going to be our area of interest. If we enter in any longs, you're gonna have to watch this as a primary barrier. We have the supply concern here in confluence with the value area low. Right now, it's also in confluence with the VWAP, but I don't think we'll get there by the time the VWAP will be a problem. We're at an area of concern for potential. You can get potential SFPs over here. So I would mark your wicks. Use your magnet tool on the left. Let me just move this over here so it's not in your. So yeah, we could look to see maybe we get down, get a lower low. If it was a picture perfect scenario, if you're wanting to enter along here, would be come down, grab that liquidity from the previous low here, and then potentially SFP, right? Grab liquidity close back inside the range. You'd be targeting this high, but this high would be under attack, right? And it would also induce a 15-minute change of character if we got that lower low. So this is a really good zone to preparing for a long on Solana. And Solana does really good has a really good follow through with their SFPs. So if you're an SFP trader, I highly recommend like taking a look at Solana because it gives you really good steps for SFPs all the time. There we go. So I'll mark this area. You want to set an alarm for this. So it tells you to look at your chart if you're an SFP trader to prepare for that SFP. And if we get the candle close below instead, we would have just confirmed this value area as resistance. So we could actually end up falling down much further. Well, not that much further, like 143.30. We have a point of control as well at 144.05. So we should mark that just in case. It's not that much stronger. Yeah, it's not that strong, but I'll mark it just in case. Previous POC, okay. So yeah, picture perfect scenario. You want to see pullback, grab, and close, enter, then your first barrier concern. But if that breaks, you have your continuation up. Watch this little supply concern along the way. If we break past that, then it's the value area low here. It will be your main target. But that is Solana. So I'll just keep your eyes out for potential SFP. I'll leave it on the 15, save, and go back to Bitcoin. We're trying to hold that value area high as support. If it's trying to be, it might be a butt head and try to break that inverse head and shoulders neckline. If it does, yeah, we got the VWAP guarding our stop loss right now, but I'm hoping that we just, because it's the holiday, the volume kind of dwindles and just we stay range bound and potentially get that full proper acceptance in the value area. Can we look at BNB? Oh, that's why wicks stick. Yeah. So you're talking about the magnet, yeah. Using the magnet tool, what it does is it looks at this data right here. See in the top left-hand side where you see the OHLC. So this is open, high, low, close. And the magnets try to cling to that data whenever you hover your mouse over a candle. So you can see how like the cruiser is kind of like bouncing all over the place. It's because it's trying to stick to one of those 4 key levels, O, H, L, or C, on that candle when you're using your magnet tool. Not very helpful information, but it's it's if you ever wonder how the magnet tool operates, that's how it operates. You want to look at BNB on the macro. Yeah, we could do that. Let's pull it up. Oh, my bad. BNB. Anyone who's watching in who's new to the channel, feel free to ask me to look up any assets or answer any questions about trading in general. So if you're struggling with anything with your trades, that's what this channel is for. Our goal is to help you guys learn so you don't have to learn through mistakes like everyone else usually has. Okay, so on the macro, so we're looking at BNB on the macro. So BNB has been one of the best performing network tokens of this cycle. But no one talks about it. And what's another one? Another one's Tron. Like Tron is another one that no one talks about as well. That does what you would anticipate an altcoin to do when we break down turning macro resistance, right? Unlike a large majority of assets lately who have been failing miserably instead, like Atom, unfortunately has been failing mostly, I think, most because of its inflationary rate. And we have Matic, which has been a letdown too. But once BNB broke its macro resistance, like as a community, we took this trade, and like a lot of people unfortunately exited here on this continuation structure. But our primary target was this macro golden pocket from this high here to the low. When if you pull a Fibonacci retracement level. This is your golden pocket. So, and now it's above its previous all-time high, trying to stabilize it as support. A lot of people have exited the market. That's why we've been ranging like this. But people have been buying the dip every time we dip within this range. So new investors are coming in, old investors are coming out, and it's kind of like stabilizing the price action right now. If we zoom in on the back in here in the lower time frames for BNB, we got we just delete some of this. There's some SFP scenarios up here. This continuation break, all stuff that we don't really need anymore. This is previous shorts and stuff. So we get our downtrending momentum here. Delete that. Don't need that anymore. Okay, we had that deviation away. It looks like we hit our previous zone here. Yeah, we had that deviation with the valley area. We had a really aggressive bounce off of this previous point of control. So we're basically like hovering, trying to hover above this valley area here to either A, give us a range extension if we get proper acceptance in this valley area. If we get that full rotation down to the valley area, we'd definitely consider this a full on like range extension and then trade it as one larger valley area rather than two separate valley areas from here to here. So it's getting like squeezed, like a sandwich between this valley area here and this more macro valley area here. So it's been ping-ponging awkwardly between it, where it got this like descending channel that we just broke out of right here that could help influence the price action to come back up to this previous point of control where we hit our heads off of last time. And then maybe this time around, we'll actually get that full rotation to its valley area high at 731. But right now, that's like its little primary boss, similar to like Ethereum. When Ethereum was struggling to get past its point of control, like this has been causing problems for BNB. We have right now, there's not really a trade opportunity. We're kind of like a no trade zone. I would say we want to see price action come back down here to prepare for longs around like 643, or up here prepare for shorts if we get that, if we end up rotating up along the way. If we maintain this momentum right here, we'll probably see price action get back up to like 673 again. But I'm not going to mark any like key levels because there aren't any that I would recommend you trading off of right now. The only thing I would really recommend is potentially preparing for longs off of these lows here. If we have the reversal structure, like an inverse head and shoulders or double bottom, change of character, right? Okay, 50 people here and only 18 likes. Come on, people. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we got 16 people watching on X or Twitter. We got about 50 people on YouTube. How you guys doing? Some people are just chilling for the holidays, man. I just came in. Are we looking for a long round 106,800? Yeah, we could probably prepare for. That's a good spot. Yeah, we got that previous value area low. I wouldn't say long there. Just don't. I wouldn't say ape there, but I would say like we get the confluence of structure. Yeah, for sure. I would say long here. Once we get that opposing change of character, you target the value area high. We could be range bound here throughout the weekend. We have another request too to look at ton. I got 15 more minutes, guys, so I can try to crush through some more stuff or questions. So ton, TON. I think we have TON chart. No, we do not. But we can do an analysis on it. Let's say we look at it on Binance. Yeah, we'll pull it up on Binance. We have any TA on this chart? No, just our EMAs. I don't like this chart. It doesn't show all the data. Let's go on to OKX. That's a lot better. Way better. Okay. So we have macro momentum here. This is basically legacy support, and ton is at it right now. So we're looking at the daily chart. We have to mark our macro value areas. So from here to the moment we left right here, this can be important value area when we return back up, or if we return back up. We have a value area from here, where this demand zone helped support this area. Right? So we have that value area. We have the miniature one right here. So these are going to be our core areas of interest as we come back down, or if we come back down. I'm hoping that ton, for especially for any holders, that this legacy support holds, because when legacy support breaks, for a majority of assets, I reconsider holding the asset altogether. Like if Bitcoin's legacy support broke, you wouldn't see me holding Bitcoin anymore. When Matic's legacy support broke, I stopped holding Matic. So just be cautious of this level. It usually will help induce really, really strong reversals, but but if this ever acted as a form of resistance and we lost this local value area, we would then be looking at historical value areas for data to help find the floor, right? So marking our previous value area zones is going to be really helpful in case that happens. Like this value area high here. Be the first one you mark. Here we go. I'll just mark the value area high and very low for now. But yeah, let's mark our. This is whole thing to value area. Let's pull up here. I know this is taking a little while. It's just I have to do like a top-down analysis from the daily, then work my way down because I haven't charted this yet. We got a previous value high, and we got the point control alongside with the 50-day EMA. I say previous. Why am I writing previous? It's the active. I got to reorganize that so we can get to it faster. There we go. Sorry about that. There we go. All right. And what else should we mark on our chart? Momentum. It evolved a little bit, so I'm just going to mark the evolve momentum. The pace of the sellers have slowed down, basically. There we go. So we have our daily levels. We have daily macro momentum here. We have our active value area. We have our active downtrending momentum that's a little bit more broad to our internal momentum that's right here. The internal momentum, we should be drawing on the lower time frames. So instead of drawing on the lower time frames, I'm going to try to sync it with the wicks, because in the lower time frames, these are likely going to be bodies. And so let's zoom in on the 15. All right, we got mostly synced to a large amount of our bodies, except for that one little level here. We double topped out of it. All right, so we're at, this is our more macro value area low from the daily structure we're looking at. We're coming down, we grabbed liquidity from these lows already. I still don't see any sign of of strength just yet. We have a decent buy shadow wick here. We could come down lower. I would recommend marking this wick here too, in case there's liquidity resting down below there. So I could come up, get swept. We have some order block confluence with our legacy momentum on the daily. So we'll see if we get that full retest back down. This is our internal momentum. But yeah, so if we come down and we scoop up that local liquidity as well as that legacy liquidity here, we could potentially prepare for an SFP in these zones around 272. But we're definitely in an area where you want to prepare for longs. We just got to get these structural confluence first. If we get that lower low, then this will be our strong high on the 15-minute right like here. Oh, the magnet's kind of messing me up. Right here would be our strong high if we get that lower low. And structure is going to evolve likely as we get down here. But you want to be mindful of like where's your strong high at the time? Because if it's broken, it could help induce a stronger reversal and hopefully acceptance back inside this value area again. But this value area is going to be your primary barrier concern along the way back up. And if we get that proper acceptance into here, then we can get the full rotation back up to its value area high, like a more macro value area high. If we look at the daily again, this is what we're talking about, like the macro value high being around 354. But the local structure suggests that there's liquidity stacked up here, and that could result in this acting as a strong barrier. We do have the 50-day EMA in line with the point of control. So if we break this downtrending momentum, just know that this could induce a reversal back down to the value area low before potentially continuing back up, which would likely come around the time this momentum here breaks. So this one, you're going to be sitting on your hands for a little bit before something safe comes along. This could also be a good spot trade, not just a futures trade too. Going back to Bitcoin. Might give us an opportunity to hold our trade soon, guys. We're almost there. I've always been kind of confused about the difference between order blocks and support and resistance. They seem to be the same places, except there's less order blocks than support. So order blocks is a type of support and resistance, but it is generated from a type of candlestick pattern that helps you define whether or not there might be residual sell orders or buy orders. Whereas when you draw regular support and resistance, it's based on evidence of sellers in the past or evidence of buyers in the past, right? So like here, where this value area low is, you can just pretend that I drew a horizontal line here because we can see that, there are buyers have been consistently honoring this level, right? And that's just basically what support and resistance is when you're drawing horizontal levels like that. You're just doing it based on like key levels that we constantly see consistent rejections or consistent support or buyers in the same area. Doesn't mean buy there, it doesn't mean sell here, but it does mean prepare for rules to define a sell or a buy in those zones. Order blocks are basically what you want to see for an order block to be created. Let me draw a rectangle here. Let's pretend that this is a candle, okay? And this is a candle as well. Right, so like an order block would be basically this kind of pattern where we had like a strong impulsive move down and we had like a slight, usually slight indecision beforehand. We had like a buy shadow wick and sell shadow wick. And this is the easiest way for me to identify it is if I just grab from the high to the low here. And then this area here would be the order block. And this would be the equilibrium point of the order block. So price action tends to come back to these zones to complete the residual sell orders in this scenario, because this would be a red candle, right? And the opposite's true too. You might see like a candle like this, right? And there'll be like a bullish order block here. So if we come back down, you can prepare for a potential reversal off of it. So you can build rules off of order blocks. And people get confused between order blocks and order books. They're two separate things. But an order block could help you identify a time where you should be looking at the order books, because there could be a sell wall in this area. That could have been the part of the reason why an order block was even created. So When you go to the order books, you can help validate potential residual orders in that area. Once that loads, we'll wait for that to load. But yeah, this is basically what an order block would normally look like. So if you don't have an indicator, you can at least look at the candles and see, okay, this looks like an order block. And again, like we'd have that chart checker section inside the Discord. So if you're trying to identify them yourself, or if you don't have a reliable indicator, post them in this chart checker section. And I'll tell you yay or nay, or whether or not that would be an order block. And they appear at different time frames. So just like candles, they the larger the time frame, the more reliable they are. So if you see like a 1 minute order block compared to like a 2 hour or a 4 hour order block, the 4 hour order block required more purchasing power in order to create that structure. Normally they're more reliable. So you can see here, I got a bunch of like 15-minute ones here. And once they become tapped once, here's an example. Here's like a 10-minute order block. I have an indicator that's drawing them out for me, but like here is a 10-minute that's been mitigated. Once you tap into it once, it's been mitigated, and you should trust it a heck of a lot less, right? What I like to see or use order blocks for is the confluence of Fibonacci. So if I see an order block in my gold pocket to 786 level, you could use that confluence to say, okay, I'm going to prepare for a long here, but then you should wait for a low time frame changes of character to just determine that there are buyers participating in that area. And I really just don't want people limit ordering into an order block unless they have rules established for a limit order strategy. But I hope that helps you guys out with understanding them. Don't let them don't feel overwhelmed about them. That once you get an understanding of them, like it gets pretty easy. The indicator that I use is MTF OBIM from 11x, and they do a really good job. There are a bunch of other ones, but they kind of suck. a lot of them really suck. But this one like really helps because it does multiple time frames, so you don't have to switch between time frames and draw them out. Coma, no worries. Kyle is 100% fair play. He shares his wins and his losses. The key is to be consistent. No gambling here. To just take advantage of a higher probability with proper risk management. Yeah. Yeah. It's important to share your losses because I find like a lot of people on social media, they only really share their wins, but the losses are really, really important because if you don't know how to manage your losses, then your wins are going to be outweighed by your losses. You want to make sure, like, for example, like I risk to lose like 1% to try to gain 2% or more. And there's going to be scenarios like this where we go past or beyond our regular target. And this trade here so far is going to help cover like over like maybe 6 or 7 losses. So I could lose 7 times in a row now and know that I'd still be profitable because of this trade. So yeah, risk management's insanely important. It's more important than your win rate, but you need to have like, of course, like win rate's important, but like risk management's definitely more important than your win rate because you can have a win rate of like 35%, and so long as you're aiming for like 1 to 2s or 1 to 2 on a 35% win rate, you'll be breaking even. If you have like a 1 to 3 and only have a 1 to 35% win rate, you'll be profitable. If you then start to focus on your win rate by like enhancing your strategy, maybe adding rules or removing rules to make sure like you increase that probability of winning, then you start to really scale in the space. I can give you for example, I can give you like 10 trades. 8 of them could be winners, 2 of them could be losers. But if those 2 trades you're risking to lose too much, then you could wipe out all the other 8 wins. Okay, I've got time. You're kind of like a walking trading encyclopedia. I it's likely because I repeat myself a lot, and I recommend this to everybody. If you want to learn something fast, teach it. When InvestiShare started, when I started InvestiShare a long time ago, like 2019, it started as like a community where like we were learning from each other. It was just like a free community, and then eventually it became like a paid platform. Um, but yeah, we were teaching to each other because it helps you retain your information a lot more. So if you have like a significant other or a friend that's interested in this, try your best to like teach what you learn in trading so it sticks to your mind a lot better. Um, all right, I got time to look at Jasmy, but then I gotta go. What do I think about Elliott waves is a good question too. Um, yeah, Elliott waves is really good for Fibonacci traders. It syncs really well when you're getting your impulse waves. Um, you can use it in confluence with Fibonacci. I haven't really dabbled much into Elliott waves in a very long time. I found it kind of overcomplicated my trading, but I know people that do really, really well with it. So I do recommend if you want to like I always recommend like learning as much as you possibly can in the space so you can understand additional barriers in your setups or additional confluences in your setups. But you should always have the same rules applied over and over and over again, either way, so you don't give yourself analysis paralysis. Uh, Jasmy, June 5th. Man, it's been a while since we looked at that. Almost exactly a month. But after this, guys, I gotta go. I got something like a company coming to my house to pick up like a bunch of junk and stuff. So I'm tearing up steps and stuff. Break of downtrending momentum. Then awkwardly rode it all the way down. That happens sometimes. But just gonna go in the daily here for a second. Let's see, we broke this macro momentum here. And ever since we've been on a massive free fall. And we came up, we had it hit as resistance, got the lower low, the break of structure continuation. And when we had that bounce off this demand zone, we came up and hit our head off this valley area. We can delete a lot of this noise. Delete this. This is going to be redundant. Looks like we shorted this top. Why did we short that? Looks like an SFP. Oh, local valley area high. Okay. Head and shoulders. Stop loss above the shoulder. Target the valley area low. It's a local demand zone. Just got out. That's a decent trade. I remember that one. Yeah, but now we're coming back down to this demand zone again. I just want to like zoom out again really quick, see what this is from. Okay, we got that supply. I mean, not supply. It was a supply concern before in the past, but that area of interest became support. Not as like a traditional demand zone, but still a key level. So now we got to look at more local price action. We could come down to as low as this area here, like worst case scenario, and grab that liquidity. There we go. And send this back. It's not very clean, but we have this little demand zone here. We tapped off it once and we're approaching it again. We have this internal downtrending momentum. Let's go to the 15-minute. I was looking at the hourly there for a second. This trend line's not very flush. Let's move it to the evolved momentum here. So let's grab the low here. Okay, there we go. So there's a few scenarios that could happen here. We could come down and swing SFP off of this to help us break this momentum. We've got a change of character level. Let me just reconfirm that in my mind here. No, that's not a change of character yet. We need to break this high in order for us to get a position of strength. And hopefully we get another lower low so we can have a better key level to watch. If we do get that lower low, we can get that sweep of liquidity at 1180. As yeah, 0.01180. Around here, I'll be looking for an SFP. Like the current structure is really kind of like messy, but if we get that like bullish structure, like similar to what we got here with that change of character occurrence with that inverse head and shoulders, we can start targeting the value area high while being very mindful of the point of control. There is some confluence of resistance here. I would mark this as a supply concern alongside the point of control. Yeah, there's not really much structure I could tell you to define a safe long yet on, but we are in a spot where you prepare for longs, right? If we end up seeing this act as resistance, let's say we get a candle close below this wick instead, we can come right down to the bottom of this demand zone around 1117 and potentially get that full continuation down here, which is where you would get a really good killer long opportunity, most likely. We haven't traded Jasmy in a while. I know like David, one of our coaches, was really into like trading Jasmy. I'm not sure how much interest he still has in it. Like, ever since it's lost that momentum, I haven't really heard much speak about it. I guess momentum was a pretty important level. It's a really good trend trader's asset. When we start to like pick a direction, it picks that direction for a long period of time. Like this, from this top here to here was like 162 days. When we broke this momentum and then we lost it up here, it was 40 some days. And we've been downtrending from here for 208 days. So it's really good trend traders asset or swing traders. That's mainly why David likes to trade it. Like he's really good at a swing trade kind of setups. He looks for the sleeping assets that are the ones that are just about to wake up. Bitcoin getting acceptance into the value area. Finally. Get that lower low. That's all we really need. And we can get that full rotation down to 106.8. Come winter, you'll be wishing you had that heated driveway. I wish for it like, I don't know why I don't like buy a snowblower. My driveway's not that big, so it's not a big deal. And I only like shovel like half of it. When you see like the video I'm going to post about my driveway, you'll understand why I only shovel about half of it. It's not that, we only have one car, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, David loves Sleeping Dragon. Jasmy's great when it moves. Yeah, it moves really hard. Yeah. All right, guys, I gotta go. I really appreciate everyone who's jumped in. Monday is going to be our very first live where we start our trade hunting with a $1,000 account. It's going to be a multi-year challenge. We're going to be trading that $1,000 account to $1 million. It's not going to be quick. Expect 500 trades at least. And just for context, I have done about 600 trades, maybe like about 650 trades since 2022, April 2022. On April 2022 is when I really got serious with my trade journaling. So I got a really good understanding of like how many trades I've done. But I'm going to be creating a whole new trading journal just for this challenge so you guys can follow along. I'm going to try to get some of those trades on YouTube, but I can't be on YouTube 24/7. So whenever I post a signal, I'll be talking about my risk management. Whenever we do a trade hunting call, I'll be talking about the strategy too, and like how our growth and all that stuff. You go to the announcements. Here's my schedule. So ones that have like the red, you can screenshot this if you like. But the ones with the red circles, this is when I'm going to be doing my YouTube lives. And there's my trade hunting calls are here. This is all based on Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, we'll get to that $1 million target. But I just want to make sure everyone's expectations are we're not going to get there quick. If we're doing it safely and not aping in with our full account, we want to make sure we do it the healthy way, right? But if you truly want to be able to follow every single trade and not just the ones that might be on YouTube or the ones that might be just in the trade hunting calls, then I'd recommend jumping in and joining the community. I can give you guys a discount if you reach out to me in the Discord, especially if you're in another country where your purchasing power might be weaker. How long would it take? Probably 2 years. We're probably looking at 2 years. It took me from 2019 to 2024 to grow a $26 account to 4.5 million. So for a $1,000 account, and knowing what I know now, I'll be able to get there quicker. So it would probably be about 2 years to get to that target. And I'll show you a realistic chart here. This is a really good chart to help you understand the probability of growth based on your risk management. I'll send you guys the link in the chat too. Here you go. But this is like $1,000. Let's say we only won 60% of our trades, but we focus on 1 to 3 risk to reward ratios, 445 trades. We get to like $1.3 million and about let's see, 445 trades. The maximum, it even tells you like what kind of psychology you should prepare for too, like how many maximum consecutive losses you could have. And that's why like it's really important like to manage your risk properly, because if you have those 9 consecutive losses, imagine if you're someone who's risking to lose 10%, you lose most of your account. You won't be able to grow back up. So we're going to be focusing on risking to lose 1%. And we're doing compound risk management. So every trade we do is going to impact how much funds we put into the next trade. Where we follow so we don't miss any trades. I've got a link down below if you want to be able to join the community. How's the SMS systems? I haven't really fully started that, if I'm being honest with you. I got a lot of other stuff I'm working on. Yeah, the alert system, I've got some ideas to improve that. Tradefly, how you doing, man? If you guys are looking for another channel to follow, like Tradefly is a really smart guy too. He mostly does swing trades because of his schedule. He's in the military, so he's got that disciplined mindset that he was able to like transfer into trading, whereas most people transfer their discipline from trading into their life. Tradefly was able to bring it into his trading. So I'd recommend like checking him out too. He also gives signals inside of the community too. So even more value. Okay. See you on Monday. We're going to nail it. Have a great weekend. Peace. 5-minute SFP doing good. Oh, you're in a 5-minute SFP, are you? Yeah, good job, man. All right. Well, guys, just a quick overview of what I'm expecting with Bitcoin for anyone who is jumping in late. I got to head out, but basically what we're looking for is that lower low to be broken and get below that point of control and confluence with that, so we can get that full rotation down to the value area low. This could be a good spot to prepare for a scalp of a long. You can still stay in the short that we went into up here, but down here, you could prepare for a long to trade inside this value area from this low to this high. If we get the confluence of a break of momentum and a opposing change of character That's when I'll be focusing on, targeting around 107.6. But yeah, hopefully we don't break these highs here, right? If we break this high, we could get that full rotation back up to potentially hit this previous level of resistance and confluence with this downtrending momentum and potentially the VWAP. And around here, I'll prepare for hopefully a continuation back down. But if we get acceptance above this, then we'd be stopped out by then, honestly. Then we could get that full rotation back up into this valley area again, because we are in an area of confluence where you normally typically want to prepare for potential longs. But the holiday, where it's mostly retail driven right now, so anything can really happen. That's usually out of character to the market. All right, guys, you have a great day. Thanks everyone who's been subscribing, following, and all that fun stuff. On Monday, we start the challenge. We'll be restructuring the signals to make it more than just about the when to enter a long, when to enter a short, right? It'll also be about managing that risk, focusing on growing that $1,000 account as much as we possibly can. We'll be changing our strategy a little bit once we get to 10K, and we'll be changing our strategy a little bit again once we get to 100K to make sure we diversify and grow passively in other areas while we focus on growing actively in our trading. All right, guys, you have a great day. Thanks for following, and I'll see you in the next one.